Mission bells resonate in San Miguel. Archaeology students revel in the cracks and crevices at San Antonio. A piece of history stands in the center of San Luis Obispo. These are the priceless trappings of the missions of California. The 21 missions in our state stand as testimonials to the past. They are a rich heritage left behind by Catholic missionaries who walked up and down the Golden State to share their ideals and their faith.
Welcome to our Christmas special featuring some of California's richest historical landmarks. Hello, I'm Drew Sugars. Hundreds of years ago, the Franciscans founded 21 missions throughout California, each roughly a day's journey apart from San Diego all the way up to Sonoma. 6 of those missions, including this one here in Solvang, are in our own backyard. Tonight, Lori Parker takes us on a unique journey through the 6 missions, beginning in northern San Luis Obispo County at Mission San Miguel.
The mission bells are the heartbeat of San Miguel. Built in 1797, the mission and the town take their names from St. Michael. After 203 years, the cracks and corroding walls have a story to tell, a tale that draws thousands of visitors each year to Mission San Miguel.
This was one of the most prosperous missions in the chain.
Things have changed a lot since the mission's early days. Gone are the herds of horses, sheep, and cattle that used to graze here. The majestic-looking archways and hallways were once bustling with Salinan Indian tribes.
The grounds here, as you notice inside the quadrangle, are gardens.
Gardens that used to be a busy work area. The Indians cultivated the land, grew wine grapes and food, and kept the village thriving. Meantime, the Catholic Padres worked to grow Christian faith, converting Indians to religion. But the grandness of San Miguel's mission was deceiving. Inside, the Padres lived in modest style. They shared small, simple bedrooms. Their mattresses were made of leather straps stretched across wooden posts.
You'll notice also that there's no chimney. So the oven served a double purpose. They let the smoke, they hung the meat up above in the rafters, and then the smoke could go up there to help cure it.
Religion and the church is what the mission is all about, and at times it was a struggle. The historic chapel was destroyed by a fire, then rebuilt. The church's stenciled wall paintings and the pulpit date back 180 years. But the pews are new. The Indians used to stand or sit on the dirt floor during Mass.
The thing that is the most fascinating and focused point on this whole thing is the all-seeing eye of God.
The colorful altar is believed to have helped the Indians stay interested in what was happening during Mass. Today, parishioners still appreciate the ornate altar.
Here on the north side of the San Miguel mission, there's a small cemetery, and though there are only about a dozen or so headstones, there are nearly 2,000 Indians buried here.
One thing that's fairly unique is it is an operating mission. The Padres live right here. In fact, we are in basically their front yard.
The mission's main function today is a novitia, a school for men hoping to become friars. This small private chapel is only for the friars and their students. Their private library is just a few steps away, and a small section of bedrooms is used for community retreats.
The goal we are trying to achieve is to make this place alive.
After 2 centuries, it still feels alive. Conserving and restoring the aging mission is the community's goal.
The town has been very interested in the mission, and they've always been anxious to see that it keeps being restored if necessary, without kind of mishandling some of the ancient, antique part of it.
It's said Mission San Miguel is one of California's best preserved and authentic reminders of the past.
If you'd like to visit Mission San Miguel, just head up Highway 101. You can't miss it. It's right off the highway north of Paso Robles in San Luis Obispo County. This next stop is not so easily accessible. Mission San Antonio is located in the middle of nowhere. Literally, it's nestled in a valley east of the Santa Lucia Mountains. Visiting this mission is like taking a step back in time a couple hundred years. We now join Lori Parker in her walk through Mission San Antonio.
Visitors to Mission San Antonio find a secret land of solitude. Far away from the major highways, the mission is about 30 miles west of San Miguel in the peaceful little town of Olan. Unless you know it's here, you'll miss it.
You have to take a detour to come here, and it's really something to see when you get here.
Named after St. Anthony, the mission and the 80 acres surrounding it have quietly and gracefully aged over the last 220 years. From cracked bells in the tower to cracks in the walls, this mission shows its age. To archaeologists, it's a treasure.
It's like a bank to the archaeologists, and there's all these gold bars in the bank.
Every summer, the silence is broken. An archaeology school brings students here. The students live the same primitive lifestyle as the Padres and Indians once did.
Archaeologists could work here for a very long time and still not find everything there is to find.
Things weren't always so quiet here. The first marriage in California was performed at this church in 1773. Under the same roof, Padres converted thousands of Salinan Indians to Christianity. Today, it remains an active Catholic church.
Even though the nearest town to Mission San Antonio is more than 20 miles away, there are about 65 families who make the drive every Sunday and attend church here regularly.
Unlike the other missions, San Antonio doesn't have a town built around it. So when the mission bells toll, the only listeners are the rolling hills.
It's one of the few missions that as you come to it, you get the experience of what it was during mission days.
And back in those days, the village was self-sufficient. The Padres even created an irrigation system with several miles of pipes to pump fresh water.
They would go from the reservoir up there and all different parts of the mission to get the water to the crops.
They farmed, grew their own food, even fermented their own grapes.
This is where they would store the wine, and the wine would be crushed up above on the floor above us. It would come through a hole right somewhere in there and into the barrels.
Music was one of the most inspirational products here. One of the Padres, Father Juan Sanchez, was an accomplished composer. He taught the Indians how to read music and play musical instruments.
And so, in fact, the violin that's right here, that was made by one of the Native Americans, and it was handed down in his family over the generations. Then it was placed here in the mission.
Gradually, the instruments are being restored, and even some of the old music has been rediscovered. The sounds may have faded, but the melodic feeling remains.
You just come here and there's a special feeling that you have while you're here. There's a spirit and a feeling of being here at the mission.
And that's what draws thousands of people off the beaten path to Mission San Antonio each year.
It's certainly worth a drive.
If you decide to visit Mission San Antonio, you'll have to drive several miles past the little town of Holon through the Hunter-Liggett Military Reservation. Now, don't mistake what was once a hearse hacienda for San Antonio. You'll have to drive a mile past it to find the actual old mission. A walk through downtown San Luis Obispo often includes an encounter with this piece of California history. Coming up, find out how Mission San Luis Obispo has evolved into one of the busiest missions in the state. And then we'll learn more about what's called the hidden gem of the missions, Mission Santa Ynez. An abundance of bears meant food for hungry Indians. That's partly why Father Junipero Serra founded his 5th mission in the Valley of the Bears. Today, Mission San Luis Obispo is one of the busiest in the whole chain. Lori Parker visited the old mission to find out its secret of success.
Just like its hometown, Old Mission San Luis Obispo depends on people to drive it.
St. Louis, the Bishop of Toulouse, San Luis Obispo de Tolosa.
This is the only mission in the mission chain that a big city really grew up and the mission remained at the very center.
The center of town then and now. The mission was built in 1772 on a knoll beside a sparkling creek. It's always been one of the busiest missions in the chain, and today has the largest congregation than any Catholic church in its diocese.
It's a very, very busy parish that's engaged in all sorts of wonderful things.
Through the years, an extra wing of the church had to be added to make room for all the parishioners.
It's not so much the building, though, I have to say. It's because of the people that have gone through there. And when I walk in there, I sometimes get the feel or the sense of the people of the past.
People like Father Junipero Serra, founder of the California Missions, whose statue greets visitors out front, and also the thousands of Chumash Indians and missionaries who once took steps here, living and working to keep this mission and Christianity alive. Like the other missions, the Indians and Padres shared a history of hardships, especially when the mission was destroyed in a fire and had to be rebuilt.
So what you see here today in the year 2000 was here in 1780, and that's just absolutely amazing. It's a mind blower.
But signs of the old days still show through. The original wood and adobe peek through in a few places. This mission is one of the first to have a tile roof, and it's the first place in the state to grow blades of grass. Padres brought the seeds knowing cattle would need grass to flourish.
What we've done in the modern era is to take all of the plants that the missionaries brought to California and tried to recreate them in here.
The gardens are filled with roses, and a walkway is lined with original California mission grapes and vines. As busy as it is, there's always a place to seek peace. The quaint old buildings surrounding the mission aren't just for show. They're used as a senior center, a youth center, and the parish hall.
We're in what's now the parish hall, but from 1849 to 1862, this area here was the first jail in San Luis Obispo County. And over here, right next door, was the first schoolhouse in San Luis Obispo County.
Generations of people have come and gone at Mission San Luis Obispo, and there's no sign of it slowing down. Some things don't change.
While I want to honor and safeguard and keep the building, it's the people's spirit that makes it sacred.
Our next stop brings us here, Solvang and Mission Santa Ines, in the heart of the little Danish town. Lori Parker now takes us on a tour of the mission, known for having one of the most beautiful settings in the state.
Tucked away in the rolling hills of Solvang is Mission Santa Ines. Named after St. Agnes, it's known as the hidden gem of all the missions.
It's a really beautiful, restful place to come, and I think that's one of the things that people really like about it.
Its simplicity sets it apart, perhaps because it was one of the last California missions built.
It also benefited from all the experience they'd had with the other missions and what worked and what didn't.
What did work was the location. Thousands of surrounding acres provided the perfect setting for the Chumash Indians and missionaries to live and prosper while growing their Christian faith.
They were near the river, they had a lot of cattle, a lot of sheep, and they started growing wheat and also olives.
The church, though simple, has one of the most colorful altars of all the missions. Chumash Indians painted the designs. The ceiling beams have been here for nearly 200 years. Same goes for the tiled floors. There's even a child's footprint in one tile dating back to the early 1800s. Father Junipero Serra, founder of the California Missions, also left his mark at Santa Ines.
This was a vestment that was actually used by Father Junipero Serra when he said Mass, so it's one of our very precious relics, one of the vestments that he actually used.
Other precious relics are the original church bells, on display because they're too fragile to ring. But there is one original bell that still works. It's one of the El Camino Real bells that marked the road connecting all the missions together.
Everyone loves our gardens, and they were actually laid out by Irish friars in the early 1900s.
That's why the center point of the gardens is in the shape of an Irish Celtic cross.
This area of the garden is where the first seminary in California used to be. In 1844, it got moved to a bigger location, but the original flooring still remains.
Some of the original adobe in the mission also remains. It stays in good shape with help from the 6 friars who live here.
We have just done a major repainting. We redid the roof about 2 years ago. When I first got here, we did the roof. There's just constant maintenance to make sure that the buildings stay up.
The upkeep and restoration is crucial, with more than 1,500 families worshiping at the church each week and thousands of visitors each year. This historic landmark continues making history.
By the way, Santa Ines has one of the best museums in the mission chain. Many of the items are in excellent condition. La Purisma Mission is known for its majestic setting and old traditions. Coming up, we'll take a walk inside the unique mission. And our journey to Central Coast Missions will take us to one sitting on a hilltop, Mission Santa Barbara, one of the most visited in the chain. Earlier this month, local leaders broke ground on a new visitor center at La Purisma Mission. The new center will replace the one now located inside old historic mission buildings. $3 million set aside in the state budget will help fund the project, expected to take about 2 years. As we've shown, each mission is unique in its own way. As Lori Parker explains, La Purisma is no different. It stands out because it's a state park and because its shape is like no other.
Nestled in 1,000 acres of Lompoc is La Purisma Mission. It takes its name, meaning most pure, from the Virgin Mary, but its past has not always been immaculate. This serene California State Historic Park was once the home of missionaries and Chumash Indian tribes. They struggled to build a self-contained community while spreading the Catholic faith.
They became infested with insects, for one thing, and then just the weather started to wear them away.
The mission's more than 200,000 yearly visitors find the grounds exactly as they would have been 2 centuries ago. In fact, La Purisma is the most extensively restored mission in the whole chain.
What's special about this particular mission is it's the only one that's been fully reconstructed. There's no place in the world that a person can go to see a Spanish colonial mission in its entirety.
Everything, including the church, has been completely restored. That's why it has no pews or benches. The Chumash used to stand during Mass.
I think it's that feeling that a person can get that they've stepped back in time. They can walk the grounds and basically see the same sights and feel and hear the same things that the Padres may have felt or seen or heard.
La Purisma's majestic linear layout is unlike any other mission. After the massive 1812 earthquake destroyed it, the Padres decided to rebuild in a linear shape, hoping it would hold up better than the previous courtyard design.
One of the most unique qualities here at La Purisma Mission is that there is a whole collection of working livestock that would have been found here in mission days.
The lush gardens are also full of useful herbs used back in the day.
Every plant in the garden was either used for food or medicine or decorative use. And there's just so much there that tells about mission life.
On what's known as Mission Life Days, visitors can truly celebrate the past with old traditions like candle making and soap making reenacted. Visitors will also find they can take steps exactly where the missionaries once did. Alongside La Purisma is this original stretch of the El Camino Real. It's the road that connected all the missions together, and each mission was a one-day journey apart by horseback.
For the weary traveler, that cross would let them know where the mission was located and how close it was and what little canyon to turn up.
With the help from state parks, this historic landmark continues to keep its place in time.
La Purisma is used as an educational tool. More than 30,000 fourth graders visit the mission every year. Wealth and prosperity are key words when speaking of the Santa Barbara mission. Check out its majestic features and learn why it's often called the Queen of the Missions. That's when we come back. The last mission is also known as the Queen of the Missions. The Santa Barbara mission is a favorite for many, mostly because of its beauty and its grandeur. But Lori Parker found some not-so-obvious qualities that make the Santa Barbara mission truly a one-of-a-kind.
Royalty resides in Santa Barbara. Here you'll find the Queen of the Missions. This hilltop location is her throne. Old Mission Santa Barbara draws the nickname Queen from its regal and majestic presence both outside and in.
It was the only mission that continued to be used as a church throughout its history.
Throughout its history, this mission, named after St. Barbara, enjoyed wealth and prosperity.
So unlike some missions where things were hard and food was hard to come by and so on, we had really good water system, one of the oldest in California, and a really great success with farming as a result of the efforts of the Chumash people here.
The Chumash here are believed to be the largest Indian village in all the missions. They learned skills like pottery and candle making while spreading their newfound faith in Christianity.
This is a prayer board with a prayer for faith, hope, and charity, and it is written in Chumash and is the oldest known example of Chumash as a written language, showing that they were using it here in the church as part of their prayer life and daily life.
The Santa Barbara mission has several features the others don't.
This cougar's head was carved by a Chumash Indian when this was built in 1808, and it may be the oldest public sculpture in California.
The twin bell towers that crown the mission are also a rarity for a mission church.
If you look at the church, you can see that it looks rather like a Roman temple, except it has these two Moorish bell towers slapped on either side. That's the result of the neoclassical or new classical Roman art idea that everything should be balanced.
The towers were added when the church was rebuilt after the 1812 earthquake.
They are the same exact metal that was in them originally, but they've been recast so that they will ring properly.
Santa Barbara is the only mission with an underground burial room, and the original collections of Mexican colonial art are some of the finest.
Another unique note is that the only Indian-made altar and tabernacle left in the California missions is here in Santa Barbara.
From the front, the Queen looks almost flawless, but from the other side, the Grand Lady shows her 192 years. Today, it remains an active Catholic parish, and just through the gardens is a small hospital for elderly priests. Tourists steadily trickle in daily. Because of its size and location, Mission Santa Barbara is one of the most visited missions in the chain.
The mission just provides a lot of beauty at an easily accessible location. There are some wonderful missions in California that are very inaccessible.
Few are as grand as Old Mission Santa Barbara.
All the California missions need your help for both maintenance and restoration. The California Missions Foundation is beginning a new fundraising campaign this year. It hopes to raise more than $50 million over the next 3 years for all 21 missions. Thank you for joining this Christmas special. We truly hope you enjoyed this walk through the missions.
In cor Deo Virgo, Christum nadum